Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to do this quick hangout. It's just easier for me to do these as hangouts instead of, doing videos that are pre-recorded and waiting around for it to be rendered and then uploading it to YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It's just easier to just get on here and go live. So that's what I'm going to do. Uh, After this video, I may do one other video dealing with politics. So you all look out for that. Turn on your notifications so that you'll know exactly when I post my content. I want to thank the people who have managed to find time to check out my Google Hangouts. I truly appreciate your support. So for this video, I want to talk about some hip hop news and just talk about the implications of this whole situation. So you have this rap artist, Tekashi 6ix9ine. He was recently indicted on gang-related racketeering charges and firearm charges. He's accused of being a part of a criminal enterprise, that's engaged in robbery and murder and other types of crimes. The name of the gang that he's allegedly affiliated with is the Nine Trey Bloods. So he faces a mandatory 32 years in jail if he is convicted of these charges. According to the reports that I saw, and I'll post links to them in the description box so that you all can check them out. Shout out to Psycho. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, in the article, they talk about how the feds basically told him that there were threats on his life. That there were some former associates that he had ties to that are basically threatening his life, and the feds basically offered him a hotel room and they offered to protect him, and basically they wanted him to snitch on his gang, and he refused to do so. And that's something that I can respect. I can respect somebody for not snitching. Nobody likes a snitch and all that kind of stuff. So he declined the offer from the feds, and apparently they're saying that there's evidence that he participated in a robbery where he robbed somebody at gunpoint with members of his gang. Also, there's some reports that he was involved in some kind of shootout with rivals, and an innocent person was shot during the whole incident. So this is just the basic background information about Tekashi 6ix9ine. As many people know, he's some up-and-coming artist that went platinum and stuff like that. He sold a lot of his units online and stuff. And he's one of these up-and-coming rappers. He's not a black rapper. He's somebody of Latino heritage or whatever. And I've done prior videos about him, basically calling him out as a minstrel and all that kind of stuff. I won't go into that here. Hopefully I'll get around to actually posting the link in the cards of prior videos that I did about this particular artist. But one thing that I found out about the situation is that Fat Joe, this prominent New York rap artist, actually tried to warn him. And he basically tried to tell Tekashi 6ix9ine that the police and, law enforcement is plotting against him without a doubt, and that he should be careful how he moves. But it turns out those warnings fell on deaf ears. And, one thing that I want to talk about is this, about something that MF Doom talked about. Like, MF Doom is an underground hip hop legend. For people that are familiar with hip hop, you all know about MF Doom, but he has this song called Rap Snitches. And he's basically talking about how a lot of these rap artists basically snitch on themselves by putting out records talking about all the criminal activity that they engage in. When I get a chance, I'll post a link to that particular song so people can hear it for yourself. But he says it in a comical kind of way. And it's just a shame that you have artists that actually advertise the fact that they participate in criminal activity. This man, this guy is on record bragging about being in a gang. He's taking all these pictures where he's posing with guns and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of this imagery of this guy so that people can understand exactly what we're talking about. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, just bear with me a second. I'm about to share my screen. So this is the rapper that we're talking about. I mean, he's in like videos and, you know, takes all these pictures where he's posing with these guns and he's bragging about being a part of this gang. So it's like he's bringing unwanted attention to himself, you know, by bragging about this gang lifestyle, you know, by shouting out this gang that he's affiliated with. And it's like people like this are basically snitching on themselves. He's bringing unwanted attention to himself. And, you know, that's probably part of the reason why this guy got investigated. And another thing that needs to be addressed, like people want to make it seem like everything is a conspiracy and stuff like that, that these people were conspiring to get him. Basically, he conspired against himself by participating in this criminal activity, man, and by celebrating it, by making it seem like it's something romantic or something great about being a gangster or being affiliated with criminal activity. And that's one of the problems with this modern day hip hop culture. Um, it promotes self-destruction. You know, back in the day, back in the 80s or whatever, there was this song called Self-Destruction. You had all these rap artists get together and basically condemn inner city violence. They were talking about how this inner city violence is leading to the destruction of our communities. But nowadays, instead of having a lot of strong voices come out like that and speak out against inner city violence, or even encourage knowledge of self and, you know, Black activism, you have a lot of the mainstream voices in hip hop, a lot of the loud voices that are heard over all these other voices, promoting a lot of negativity, you know, promoting drug use, promoting violence in the community, promoting, you know, debauchery and the degradation of our women. All of this stuff is celebrated, celebrating the gangster lifestyle, celebrating, you know, destruction. And this is by design. It's not just these individual artists doing this stuff. There's a whole industry that promotes this stuff. You know, record labels, you know, that own, you know, that for the most part own these artists, that decide which artists they're going to sign, that decide which artists are going to be promoted on radio and stuff like that. They direct, you know, the direction of this hip hop thing, you know, by deciding which artists are going to get the attention, which artists are going to be signed, which artists are going to sell a lot of units. In many ways, they drive all that stuff by, you know, promoting certain artists, by giving them certain, you know, attention in the media and all that kind of stuff. So this is by design. You have a culture that promotes this stuff. And, you know, it's just a shame that a lot of young people will listen to his music and, you know, get enamored or become fascinated with this gang lifestyle and think that that's something great to celebrate. You know, it's just a shame, like in a lot of this hip hop music, you know, this so-called street credibility is celebrated, it's viewed as something that makes somebody legit, it makes them great and all that kind of stuff. So instead of celebrating excellence, often in the hip hop culture, people are celebrating degeneracy. They are celebrating criminality. You know, it becomes a badge of honor for somebody to get locked up. You know, it's like some kind of rites of passage. And they basically say, oh, he's a real nigga because he got locked up and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that people promote. They say they think that somebody is really down because they got shot. It's like, it is idiotic that people are celebrating this kind of stuff. Yeah, so I just had to hop on here and just share my views about this, man. You know, I hope, you know, that more people do not follow this type of example. You know, I hope that this is a warning to, you know, these young people who want to get wrapped up into that particular lifestyle, who think it's something great, think it's something to celebrate and stuff like this. I hope this wakes people up. I mean, it should have woke people up when they saw what happened to Bobby Shmurda. when they saw what happened to many other artists who were locked up for periods of time and stuff like that. But it's like, for some reason, people aren't getting the message. For some reason, that just makes them think, oh, this artist is even greater because they got locked up. But one thing, again, that I have, even though I don't condone anything, obviously I don't condone anything that this guy did. I do respect the fact that he didn't snitch on these people. He could have ran with the feds and, got a hotel with the feds and snitched on all these people. At least he didn't do that, so I can respect that, because, nobody respects a snitch and stuff, man. So, in that sense, I can respect that. I mean, you had other people, other entertainers who ended up getting off for criminal, offenses. They've been in situations where they had all these weapons and all this and that, and they ended up getting off. And it's like, that's suspect to me. I'm wondering what kind of price they had to pay to get out of those particular cases and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts real quick on here. Shout out to Psycho, shout out to Virgo Life, shout out to Edex, shout out to DJ Wiz. So DJ Wiz says he's not getting anything. He didn't set himself up for. Yeah, that's true, man. He basically set himself up for this stuff by running around with this gang, by getting on record bragging about criminal activity, by posing with all these guns and all that kind of stuff, bringing attention to himself. And then, people want to act like he's some target and stuff like that. This man is not like he's some, political activist or whatever. They targeted him because of criminal activity. This guy is not some political prisoner or anything like that. But we know that the police have targeted hip hop, hip hop artists in places like New York City. And the reason why they do so is because so many of these artists brag about criminal activity. They brag about selling drugs. They brag about shooting people and killing people and all this and that. So if you're on record bragging about this stuff, then it only makes sense for these people to start to bring, to pay attention to you and to monitor you and stuff. So yeah, he got what he set himself up for. And yeah, that's another point. Sean mentioned this in the chat room, that guy was actually convicted of sexually abusing a 13-year-old girl, from what I understand, which is serious. I mean, but yet the industry, the hip hop industry, welcomed this guy with open arms. He's featured on all these shows like the Breakfast Club and all that kind of stuff. The guy, I mean, and his music is so-so. His music is not all that. He raps over a lot of amped up beats. He sounds like an imitation, as I said before in a prior video, of that guy Fredro Starr from Onyx. He sounds like a poor imitation of him. He's not all of that. And it's like they manufacture these types of artists and they give them so much attention, because when it comes to talent, this guy is nowhere near as good as a J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar or any real lyricist. There's underground artists that are way better than this guy, but they don't receive nowhere near as much as attention as this guy received. And I just think that it was a matter of time. It's like, it was a matter of time before this guy got arrested, and the way he talks all reckless toward all these people, it's just a matter of time before he ends up getting killed too. His life is in jeopardy, just based on his constant clashes with all these different people and all that kind of stuff. He fired all these people that were former affiliates with them, trashed them on radio and stuff like that. So of course people are going to be hostile to him. And as I mentioned earlier, he had actual threats against him. The feds were basically telling him that these people are threatening your life. They're recordings of these people threatening this guy. And he's in all these constant conflicts in order to generate attention. Like, he trolls people to generate attention. And, it's just crazy, man. Fat Joe tried to warn him, as people have said, as I pointed out. When I get a chance, I'll post a link to the video where Fat Joe tries to warn him and this and that. But it's like that warning fell on deaf, on deaf ears. Like the guy didn't listen to anything that Fat Joe was trying to tell him. And now he's in this predicament where he faces 32 years in jail. 32 years in jail, man. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, he received breaks, Kendra. Yeah, he did receive breaks because he didn't have to. From what I understand, he didn't have to serve jail time for that crime before, and then he's been charged with some disorderly conduct and all that kind of stuff. And there was a shooting at some video that he was doing with Nicki Minaj and I think Kanye West or whatever. Trouble follows this guy, and it's just a matter of time before something happens. And yeah, I mean, like Kendra said, his gangster is going to be tested in jail, man. Like he's posing like he's all hard and all this and that. I don't believe he's hard like that. He's once he's in jail in the general population, all that gangster stuff that he promotes is going to be tested for real. We're going to see if he's really about that life and stuff. And it's just a shame, man. It's just a shame that you have another young person whose life is basically flushed down the toilet over this gang stuff. And it's a shame that so many young people look up to this guy and listen to his music and celebrate him. Um, and one thing I want to talk about is 50 Cent as well. Um, I was looking at this article involving 50 Cent. 50 Cent, and everybody know that 50 Cent is a troll, an internet troll. And I'm just going to Google this article real quick and share my screen. So that you can see like how people are, man, how these people are so incredibly fake. Because 50 Cent was shouting this guy out, like, you know, acting like he was down with them and all this and that. But I just have to show you this, man. It just shows you how people are so incredibly fake, man. One minute they're pretending like they're down with you, another minute they hating on you and stuff like that, and disrespecting you. And it should just be a cautionary tale, period, about like how a lot of these people around you are not really down with you like that. They're only down with you for the moment. Like, I wonder how many of these people are going to stand by this guy's side, through all this turmoil and this trial and tribulation. So you got 50 Cent right here who posted this on his Instagram, where he's basically telling him, don't call me, call your mama. Don't put the FBI on my phone, because he's under surveillance. This guy Tekashi is under surveillance and all that kind of stuff. And then he has positive vibes here. And people know about 50 Cent, like he's a snitch, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, knows this. This guy has to be surrounded by security and all that kind of stuff because he's a snitch. So this guy basically threw this guy under the bus, like after promoting this guy, after pretending like he's so down with Tekashi 6ix9ine. He does him like this, throws him under the bus when he's in this situation. And this should be something that people should learn from, man. Just about how fake a lot of these people are in the hip hop industry and stuff like that. So let me just stop sharing my screen. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Before I go, just wanted to say something to Psycho. I heard that you had, I was watching Lashid for You's hangout this morning, and she mentioned that you had a hangout or a debate with Cynthia G. If you can post the link to that debate or tell me where I can find it, I would appreciate it, Psycho. So if you can let me know if you're still around, if you're still in the chat, you can just post and let me know where I could check that out, because I would really be interested in hearing that debate. But anyway, let me go back through your comments. Shout out to Ra. You said that he had been warned by many OG rappers about the hip hop police. Yeah, I mean, and then he just continued to do what he, what he does, like participate in this gang activity and all that kind of stuff. And here he is. Now he faces 32 years in jail. That's the end of his rap career and all that kind of stuff. It's just a shame to see, waste like that happen, man. And it's like a shame that you had these record labels that they're so concerned with just money and profit that they don't offer any kind of guidance to these young people that they sign and stuff like that. From what I remember, like in hearing about Biggie Smalls and, when he signed with Bad Boy and stuff like that, Diddy was basically telling him, to leave that, drug dealing lifestyle alone. You got a chance to make some legitimate money, and basically offered him some kind of guidance and stuff. But it seems like nowadays they don't do that right now. Basically what they do is they encourage these artists to participate in this stuff because they know that controversy sells. They know that, there's this big thing in hip hop about people having street credibility. That means more to these record executives than the safety of their artists. They couldn't care less about these artists. These artists are disposable commodities as far as they're concerned. And, this is just a prime example of that. So Edek said hip hop has only been this bad since the powers that be streamlined and only marketed the negative aspects instead of celebrating the culture as a whole. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what happened. Like, it seems like it was shortly after, NWA. Like, I know that when NWA first came out, like hip hop was very diverse. Like you had all these different voices within hip hop. So hearing the NWA wasn't that, detrimental at the particular time because you had so much diversity in messaging and stuff. You had Black conscious hip hop at the same time. You had, just fun hip hop where people were just singing about, dancing and having fun and partying and stuff like that. So you had like a range of different types of messages in hip hop. But then somewhere down the line, the mainstream hip hop became, primarily hip hop that celebrated gang lifestyle, celebrated pimping, celebrated drug dealing, celebrated violence, all that kind of stuff. And it's like all those other voices, the conscious voices or, more positive type of voices in hip hop got pushed to the margins. You mentioned some of these more conscious type of artists and, to the young people, and it's like they don't even know who they are. They don't even listen to artists like a Mos Def or Common or, the Roots or anybody like that. They're like, they don't even know who these artists are. They're not listening to Dead Prez or, Public Enemy or anybody like that. They listen to, your Tekashi 6ix9ines and your, Lil Wayne and Drake and all that kind of stuff. And not to say that everything that all those artists do is negative, but, often, you had negative messaging and, music from like Rick Ross and all these other people that promote like, the trap lifestyle and, promoting using all these drugs. I mean, back in the day, the main kind of drugs that people would promote was like just people drinking and smoking weed and stuff like that. But today you got people on record promoting drug abuse, like basically encouraging people to take Percocet and all these other highly addictive pills, opioids and stuff like that. So the culture is all the way messed up, man. You got songs where people singing about, Percocet and all that kind of stuff, singing about, and part of this got popularized with Eminem. Like he was one of the first artists that talked about using these types of drugs and stuff. His group, D12 had a song where they're talking about purple pills and all this and that. So you got a lot of this negativity out here. this being promoted and this other hip hop is being pushed to the margins, man. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, I mean, the point about people being down with you when you're up, like everybody's gonna be around with you when you're selling those records. Like, everybody was surrounding this guy, Tekashi. Again, 50 Cent was supporting him. You got like, he had a song with Nicki Minaj and all that kind of stuff. So all these people were rallying around him and stuff. But now that he's heading downward, I wonder how many of these people will be with him now. Like, I wonder how many people that were hyping Bobby Smurder and stuff like that, how many of those people are visiting him in jail? It's all like a reason behind this stuff. It's not like a coincidence that this is the kind of hip hop that's promoted. So JVC says he'll be freed. I don't know if he will be. He may be. He may not be. I know that he tried to offer bail. He offered like over $1 million to bail out and stuff like that. The court rejected it, so he's still in jail. Yeah, he can blame himself for that. You're right about that. Shout out to Garage Autonomous. Yeah, they do follow a script. Yeah, it's like a common thing with a lot of these like a lot of these young artists, man. They follow a script, they promote this gangster stuff, then they end up getting locked up behind this gangster stuff, man. And it's just a shame, man, to see another life just flush down the toilet. Yeah, they're saying that they have like video, like from what I understand, they have photographs or videos of him, at these particular crime scenes or something like that. This is a very serious thing, man. So it's going to be hard for him to get out of this one. Yeah, he definitely did keep trolling. I agree with that discourse. Yeah, that kind of stuff wouldn't be tolerated. I mean, he's like started all these beefs with all these people and stuff like that. So if he didn't get arrested, something would have happened to him either way. Like somebody would have saw him on the street. He would have ended up in some kind of confrontation, ended up getting shot. As I said before, there was a shooting at one of the video scenes where he was doing one of his music videos or whatever. It's just a matter of time before somebody catches up with him, man. And they may catch up with him while he's in jail. It's just a shame that there's nobody around this guy. I mean, Fat Joe tried to offer him advice, but he needs more people around him that are offering him positive guidance, man. Instead of like having all these criminals and gang members like being his staff and being a part of his team, he needs to have a real team with real experts and stuff like that can give him counseling and give him advice on how to conduct his business and how to protect his name and his brand and stuff like that. But it may just be too late for that now, man, the way it looks right now. And it's a shame that instead of relying on talent, like artists like him have to rely on trolling in order to maintain their popularity. I mean, to maintain their relevance. I mean, one thing that you see is like you see that with even an artist like Azalea Banks. An artist that has some kind of talent. But instead of focusing on her craft, all she does is focus on trolling people on social media. And for the most part, the only news that you hear about her, and even this guy, is like a lot of news about who they're trolling and stuff that they're doing and stuff like that, instead of news about like their latest project or whatever. Kendra said time is up for this rainbow clown. Yeah, man, it's like I don't understand how people even took him seriously, man, as an artist. I mean, he had rainbow hair. Um, his raps are, I mean, even though the beats are turned up, like the beats are beats that hype you up, like you hear the beats to his music. It's hype, it's like party music or fight music and stuff like that. But in terms of his actual lyrical skills, it's an actual joke. I mean, I was watching this video, I think it was Most Def, and he was sitting back. I think he was listening to this guy, Tekashi, if I'm not mistaken. And he was saying, like, basically talking about how it was horrible, basically, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure my hip hop heads, provide more information about that. Um, yeah, so Garage Autonomous said these guys feel that street clout is what keeps pushing their units, not talent, artistry, or message. That's their loss, not ours. I feel nothing for them. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I'm wondering if he's gonna end up snitching and stuff and end up getting out. I mean, and I don't know if Ti snitched or anything like that, but I just find it suspect that you're found with all those guns and stuff, man, and you end up getting off so lightly. End up getting out of that, man. When all these people, a lot of people around you are indicted, and you get away scot free. To me, that's suspect and stuff, man. So Elaine Lloyd said he must not have been making money from his music. I wonder if he thought his celebrity would get him, prevent him from going to jail and stuff. Apparently he went platinum and stuff. This man had like over $1 million to give up for bail and stuff. So he's making some money. It's all about that street credibility nonsense with him, man. It's because like if you are a platinum artist, why are you participating in criminal activity? Why are you participating in a robbery and stuff? You obviously don't need the money. I mean, obviously he was participating in it to gain the street clout, as Garage Autonomous is pointing out, to make it seem like he's really about that life to his people that's around him. And it's like, if you're trying to go somewhere in life, you got to leave behind people that are trying to drag you down, man. And that's what this gang affiliation basically did, is dragging him down. And it's literally destroying him. So somebody said that he has a 360 deal. I don't know if he has that or not. But yeah, and a lot of those types of arrangements, the artist makes very little money because the company keeps everything just about. Like they own the publishing, they get the money from any merchandise to sell sold and all that kind of stuff. They get money from the concerts and stuff. So yeah, that type of arrangement sucks, and I don't know if he has that arrangement or not. So I can't really speak on that. Yeah, so I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Again, I may be back up on here later on talking about some politics. I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi and this black female Congress person who was her potential rival and what happened to her and how her potential candidacy got derailed. So I may talk about that, just talk about black people in the Democratic Party and like how um, how some things need to change. So I may do that. So again, turn on your notification bell so that you'll know when I post my content. I want to thank you all for checking out this Google Hangout. And also, I want to remind you, if you didn't see the Hangout that I did earlier this morning, I encourage you to check it out. It's about Black China promoting skin bleaching in Africa. So check that out. Also, I had a debate with Obsidian last night. I encourage you all to check that debate out as well, where we were talking about whether or not black people should support Donald Trump and the Republican Party. So I want you all to check that out. I will post links in the cards once this video uploads and I have a chance to, so that you can all directly click those videos and watch those videos and support those videos. So I'm really interested in what you thought about the debate with Obsidian. And let me know what you think in the comment section to that particular video. Again, as I said before, my challenge is open to these YouTubers, to all the YouTubers that I mentioned in that video entitled New Possibilities versus Everybody. I challenge those people to a debate. So far, Obsidian Radio is the only person who had the courage to step forward and enter the arena to debate me. I again welcome all those people that say don't vote. All these don't vote or non-voting people that encourage others not to vote. I would love to debate them live. Love to debate that subject live, just like I debated this issue dealing with these black Republicans live. So yeah, let those people know. You can, let it drop a comment to their videos telling them that New Possibilities challenges them to a debate. For those of you that didn't see that video, I will post that in the cards as well. So with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to everyone. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. I see that Reigning Woman checked in. Shout out to you. Good morning to everybody. Peace.